You are stealing from my store. Get off the floor.
Sir, she fell. She needs help.
I don't care. Security, remove them now.
Step away from them, sir. Now!
The grocery store on the east side of the city opened every morning at exactly 7 o'clock, but for Nia Brooks, the day always began long before sunrise. By 5:30 she was already walking through quiet streets with a worn backpack over her shoulder and a paper cup of homemade coffee warming her hands. At 28 years old, she worked as a cashier at Harper's Market, a neighborhood grocery store where she had spent nearly 6 years smiling at strangers, memorizing regular customers' names, and stretching every paycheck to care for her younger brother after their parents had passed away. Many people looked at Nia and saw only a quiet black cashier in a green uniform, but those who truly knew her understood that kindness was her greatest strength. She believed that every person deserved respect no matter how much money they had or how expensive their clothes looked. That simple belief would soon change her life forever. It was a rainy Thursday afternoon when an elegant elderly woman entered the store. She wore a dark blue coat, carried herself with quiet dignity, and pushed a shopping cart without any security guards or assistants around her. Most customers barely noticed her, but Nia greeted her with the same warm smile she offered everyone. "Good afternoon, ma'am. Let me know if you need help finding anything." The woman smiled back. "Thank you, dear. It's nice to hear genuine kindness." For nearly 30 minutes the woman wandered the aisles while Nia continued scanning groceries for impatient customers. Suddenly a loud crash echoed through the store. People screamed as the elderly woman collapsed beside the dairy section, her shopping basket spilling across the floor. Several shoppers stepped backward instead of forward, unsure what to do. One employee froze in panic while another pulled out a phone to record the scene. Without hesitation, Nia jumped from her register, ignoring the manager shouting that she should stay at her station. She knelt beside the woman, checked her breathing, and remembered the first aid training she had completed years earlier. The woman's pulse was weak, and her breathing became shallow. Nia calmly asked another customer to call an ambulance while she loosened the woman's scarf and kept speaking softly to keep her conscious. "Stay with me. Help is coming. You're going to be okay." The woman struggled to open her eyes. "My medicine," she whispered. Nia searched the fallen handbag and found emergency medication exactly where the woman described. Following the instructions printed on the container, she helped administer it while continuing to reassure her. Minutes later paramedics rushed inside and immediately took over. One of them quietly said to Nia, "You probably saved her life." Those first few minutes were critical. The elderly woman reached for Nia's hand before being placed on the stretcher. "Thank you. I'll never forget you." As the ambulance doors closed, the store returned to its normal rhythm, but not everyone appreciated what had happened. The store manager, Richard Collins, stormed toward Nia with anger written across his face. "Who told you to leave your register?" he barked. Nia stared at him in disbelief. "She could have died. That's not your responsibility. You caused long checkout lines, customers complained, and we lost sales." You're here to scan groceries, not play hero. Every employee nearby fell silent. Nia expected at least a word of appreciation, but instead Richard escorted her to his office. Less than 15 minutes later, he handed her a termination notice for abandoning her assigned position during work hours. Her hands trembled as she looked at the paper. "You're firing me, because I helped save someone's life." Richard folded his arms. "Company policy. You're dismissed effective immediately." Fighting tears, Nia removed her name tag, placed it gently on his desk, picked up her backpack, and walked out of the building she had faithfully served for 6 years. Outside, rain poured harder than before. She stood beneath the gray sky wondering how doing the right thing could cost everything. What she didn't know was that the elderly woman she had rescued was Eleanor Whitmore, the widowed mother of billionaire entrepreneur Daniel Whitmore, founder and CEO of Whitmore Global Holdings, one of the largest investment companies in the country. Eleanor rarely revealed her identity because she enjoyed living without the attention wealth attracted. When Daniel arrived at the hospital after receiving an emergency phone call, doctors informed him that if first aid had been delayed by even a few minutes, his mother might not have survived. Daniel rushed into her room where she rested comfortably. "Mom, are you all right?" he asked, gripping her hand. Eleanor smiled weakly. "I'm alive because of a young cashier named Nia Brooks. She didn't care who I was. She only cared that I needed help." Daniel listened carefully as his mother described every detail, including the manager yelling at the young woman even while paramedics treated her. When Eleanor finished, Daniel quietly asked, "Did you get her last name?" "Brooks," Eleanor answered. "Please find her. I owe her my life." The following morning Daniel's executive assistant gathered information about Harper's Market. Within an hour they discovered something unbelievable. Nia Brooks had indeed been fired immediately after the incident. Daniel's expression hardened. "Schedule no meetings today," he ordered. "We're going grocery shopping." At Harper's Market the next afternoon, customers stared as a convoy of luxury vehicles stopped outside. Daniel Whitmore stepped through the entrance dressed in a tailored charcoal suit. Employees whispered nervously while the manager hurried over with an exaggerated smile. "Mr. Whitmore, what an honor. If we had known you were visiting," Daniel interrupted him. "Where is the cashier who saved my mother's life?" Richard hesitated. "Well, she no longer works here." "Why?" "She violated company procedures." The billionaire remained silent for several seconds. The entire store seemed to stop breathing. "So let me understand this correctly," Daniel finally said. "My mother collapsed in your store. A young woman risked her job to save her. Paramedics confirmed her actions helped keep my mother alive. And your response was to fire her." Richard attempted an awkward laugh. "Rules are rules." Daniel slowly looked around at the watching employees and customers. "No," he replied calmly. "Leadership is leadership. Rules without humanity destroy businesses." He turned to his attorney, who had quietly entered behind him. How much real estate does Harper's Market lease from Whitmore Properties? The attorney checked a tablet. This entire shopping center belongs to us, sir. Richard's face lost all color. Daniel nodded once. Begin a full review of their lease agreement and business conduct immediately. Panic spread across the manager's face. Please, surely we can discuss this. Daniel ignored him. One more thing, he said. Tell every employee here exactly why Nia Brooks was fired. They deserve to know what kind of leadership they work under. News traveled through the city faster than anyone expected. Customers flooded social media condemning the store's decision. Local television stations reported the story of the cashier who saved a stranger only to lose her livelihood. Within 48 hours, thousands of people vowed never to shop there again. Harper's Market lost more business in 2 days than it normally earned in a month. Meanwhile, Nia sat in her small apartment filling out job applications, completely unaware of the storm unfolding. A knock on her door interrupted her. Standing outside was a well-dressed woman holding an envelope with the Whitmore family crest. "Ms. Brooks?" she asked politely. "Mr. Daniel Whitmore would like to invite you to dinner this evening. His mother has been asking for you." Nia assumed it had to be some misunderstanding, but curiosity convinced her to accept. That evening she entered the Whitmore estate feeling completely out of place. Eleanor immediately stood and embraced her. "There's my guardian angel," she said warmly. Throughout dinner they laughed, shared stories, and spoke not about wealth but about family, sacrifice, and hope. Near the end of the meal, Daniel placed a small folder on the table. "Nia," he said, "people often believe success is measured by money. I disagree. Character is the rarest form of wealth, and yesterday you proved you possess more of it than many executives have met." She looked at the folder but didn't open it. "What's this?" "An offer," Daniel replied. Inside was a contract for the position of Director of Community Relations at Whitmore Global Foundation with a salary nearly 10 times greater than what she earned as a cashier, full benefits, educational funding, and a scholarship for her younger brother. Nia stared at the pages, unable to speak. Tears filled her eyes. "Why would you do this for me?" Eleanor answered before Daniel could. "Because when you thought I was just an old woman buying groceries, you showed me compassion without expecting anything in return. The world has enough people chasing money. It desperately needs more people like you." Months later, Nia became the face of the foundation's community outreach programs, creating emergency response training for retail workers across the country so no employee would ever have to choose between saving a life and keeping a job. Harper's Market eventually replaced its manager after public outrage and declining sales forced the owners to admit their mistake. Many former co-workers later apologized to Nia for remaining silent that day, and she accepted every apology with grace. She never celebrated their downfall because revenge had never been her goal. Instead, she proved that kindness could accomplish what anger never could. The story of the black cashier who saved a billionaire's mother spread far beyond the city, inspiring millions who realize that true greatness is not found in wealth, titles, or power, but in the courage to do what is right even when it comes at a personal cost. In the end, Nia did not become extraordinary because a billionaire rewarded her. She became extraordinary the moment she chose a stranger's life over her own security, reminding everyone that the smallest act of compassion can open doors no amount of money ever could. Subscribe to my channel.